Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing your daily Walking Dead video for today, leading up to the 8th season for the Walking Dead TV series. In this one, we're going to give our thoughts, cumulatively, so to speak, after the response from you guys yesterday on what is the all-time biggest death in the Walking Dead television series we've had so far. And spoiler warning as usual, if you guys are not caught up for Walking Dead, which is up to the Season 7 finale, which basically everyone has seen at this point. So going into Season 8, did a video yesterday. If you guys missed it, we recap all of the deaths in the Walking Dead television series, on-screen deaths, really, from the beginning of the show, from Season 1 all the way up until current time, which is to the start of Season 8. So that's yesterday. Definitely check it out, guys, if you didn't see it. It's almost half an hour long, and we go over every single death in the show, kind of a character death index. So the thing that I asked you guys to comment about is to let me know which death out of all the character deaths in the series was the most impactful to you as a viewer. So which one emotionally impacted you or affected you the most out of all the deaths in the whole series. I've kind of given my thoughts on it before, after the Season 7 premiere and that, and for me, like personally, I want to say that, you know, the death that impacted me the most was probably the Lori death from The Walking Dead. But it seems that you guys and the fan base, it seems like, is not really in agreement with me for this one, and that's cool. You know, I'm sure a lot of you guys have your own opinion on which death you thought was the biggest, but from what I'm seeing, from what people are commenting after recapping every single death in the show, the biggest one, it sounds like, is Glenn's death. So, Stephen Yeun, Glenn, the death in the Season 7 premiere. The Abraham death was pretty big, too. There was some that said Beth, even. You know, a lot of the girls, for example, especially younger girls, maybe identified with Beth in a way, so that was a big death for them. But it looks like for the most part, most people are just simply saying Glenn, that Glenn's death was the absolute biggest in the series for sure. Yeah, so definitely wanted to touch on, you guys can write your comments below for this one. But yeah, you know, I mean, it was huge in the comics when they did issue 100. You had the death of Glenn in the comics. And it's hard for me to say if it was the biggest death in the show or in the comic series and why. But it looks like to me for the TV series version, I think it's because even though we had other characters that were maybe closer to Rick, like his wife, for example, or Shane, you know, his best friend, I think it's because, you know, we spent a lot of time in the series with these characters over the seasons. And Glenn is really one of those A-list front-runner characters by the time Season 7 comes around. You know, by the time you get into Season 6, he has his own, you know, story arcs. He has kind of the thank you stuff with Nicholas. He kind of has his own villain with Nicholas there. I mean, of course, he's got the relationship with Maggie. He's got, you know, so many moments throughout the series. He had a good relationship with Dale. And, you know, he's always kind of been there in the show. So even though he wasn't like, you know, before the zombie apocalypse, close to Rick or anybody like that, or associated with our main lead, he kind of became a lead in his own right. He kind of became a standout in his own way, the same way a lot of the Season 1 characters have, such as Carol, Morgan even at this time, you know, Maggie also Season 2, but she's become like, you know, a lead in and of herself, and a lot of these other characters have. So it's interesting to me that most people said that Glenn was pretty much the biggest death or the most impactful death in The Walking Dead, and it kind of shifts my mindset in the way I was thinking about it, because the way I personally had thought about it was like those Season 3 deaths were like the biggest ever, and that, you know, none that came after could emotionally impact the viewer as much as the Lori death did, or some of those early ones did. But it sounds like that's not true, in that after Season 7, the Glenn death actually impacted people more because they became more attached to the character because of the time we spent with Glenn, and because he was such a good guy, too. And also the brutal nature of it. I mean, it's kind of one of those brutal, unforgettable deaths with the head bash and everything, so really brutal. So right now, and probably going forward, maybe forever, the biggest Walking Dead death could be Glenn. We'll see if they ever top it. I think there's only a couple characters they could kill off that could top Glenn's death, and you guys can write that below, too. You know, of of course, our big ones, if they ever eventually kill off Daryl, I think that could top it. Rick, eventually that could top it. Or some of our other like core A-listers. But even if they killed off somebody like Carol, I'm just not sure. You guys can leave your comment below and let me know whose death you think would top Glenn's, depending, of course, on how they do it. Certain characters get better deaths than others. Like you had Sasha, who had a really great death considering, where she was kind of at in terms of placement. She had hallucination scenes with Abraham, or you could say like Abraham's ghost or flashbacks. She just had a lot going on with her death. It wasn't like a sudden, just killed off out of nowhere and then not concentrated on. Certain ones get more concentration than others. Then the Q&As for today. So Dominick Ambrosio says, "Hey Trev, love your videos as always and keep up the good work. My question is, what season 1 characters do you think will die in season 8 of the Walking Dead TV series?" So season 1 characters, so you're talking like our some of our oldest, early season characters from the show. There aren't a lot left. That's the thing. There aren't too many left, so I wouldn't think they would kill off hardly any, maybe 0. If they're going to kill off any, I think Morgan would be most likely. And then if you go after Morgan, you're looking at like probably Carol, somebody like that. And then, there's just not a lot left from the first season. So I think Morgan will probably be our next first season character death. But we'll have to see how things shake down and how things go. And it may not even be in season 8. It may be later on, because really they have to use those sparingly when they kill off a season 1 character. It's not like you're ever going to get them back. So and there's so few left now that in the series that it's just crazy. There's only like who we got, like Carl, Rick, Carol, Morgan. I'm probably missing some here and not thinking of some, but there's just not a lot from really early on. So I don't think many, if anybody, maybe Morgan. And then of course, I did mention Daryl, but they're probably not going to kill Daryl off right now. I can't see that happening. Chris Shelton says, "Hey Trev, Q&A, do you think we have seen all of the communities or groups that are controlled by Negan? And if not, do you think he would go to them for help, or if not, do you think he would go to them for help in All Out War, so maybe we could see like another group that we haven't seen yet as controlled by Negan? Or would he be afraid they would rise up against him too? And as always, thanks for your hard work." So I think we've probably seen all the groups under Negan at this point now. I mean, if you think about all the communities, can you really see them bringing more communities in? I don't think it's necessary after everybody we know of. I mean, we've got Alexandria, we've got the Kingdom, we've got the Hilltop, we've got the Oceanside, we've got the Junkyard Group. I don't think it's necessary to bring in more communities into the show. So I'll say that I think we've seen all of the communities currently under Negan. We may not have seen all of his outposts, though. Like him and his saviors, they may have different outposts that we've not seen. But as far as like communities under him that serve up to him, I think we've probably seen them all, yeah. You could argue maybe that based on the amount of saviors, they must be getting food from elsewhere. But I'm just not sure, because I can't see them bringing any others in now. Prick Grimes says, "Trev, I have a legit question for you. How is it you never get bored of The Walking Dead? I know it's your passion, but I'm really amazed how you have been talking about it and creating videos for it nearly daily for years and never seem to want to just take a break. I'm at the point right now where I'm just a bit worn out on The Walking Dead. I'll definitely get back to it by October, but right now I'm interested in other things. So peace out." So that's from Prick Grimes. I love his name too, Prick Grimes, right? It's good. So, it's just kind of the way things go, right? That sometimes interest goes up and down for things. This is summertime right now. The TV series is not on. So it's not like there aren't too many people that are not interested in it during the season, which is season 7 that happened a little bit, but really, personally for me, I love the series so much. I also collect things based on it. So, I always look forward to the comic series releases. I always look forward to the TV series episodes. I look forward to figures and stuff like that for Walking Dead as well, too. I like to collect Walking Dead merch. I like to, check over the series again. It's a very dense show. It's similar to Game of Thrones in that way, where there's a lot to it, and when you rewatch it again, there can be things that you haven't thought of recently that come back to you, characters that you get to see again that are killed off so you don't see them later. So I just feel like The Walking Dead has really great replay value. It just does a really good job, and there aren't too many shows that I really watch and get into like The Walking Dead. I rarely watch an episode of Z Nation again, or I rarely go back and watch Better Call Saul again, or some shows like that. There's very few that I look at that kind of a level where I really enjoy that much, like at the same level as Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, maybe Breaking Bad. There's very few shows that are at that kind of a level for me as a viewer, as a fan, that I would be interested to rewatch again. The Walking Dead is definitely one of those, so I love making videos about it with you guys, even if it's, going over every single character death in the show, that kind of thing, and just watching myself and going over myself. It's really a great story, man. I really think it is, and, there's just not too many shows like it. It's kind of like with anime, for example. This summer, I like to check out anime during the break and stuff when I have a bit more time. A lot of times I go back to the same stuff. There's all kinds of new anime coming out all the time, but I like to watch Dragon Ball still. Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super. I like to go back and watch Naruto sometimes. I like to watch Death Note and Berserk, and just some series that really meant something to me as a viewer. Not every series does. There's a lot of series that are just kind of on whatever that I'm not that into. For me, The Walking Dead is one that it's just my favorite. I really, really love it a lot. And I can say the same thing about Game of Thrones and Breaking Bad and some other series as well too. So yeah, even after 8 years, I don't really get tired about it, because it's just something I enjoy doing so much. So yeah, it's not something I really ever have to worry about. Sometimes we run out of things to talk about because I've already covered everything or we've already discussed everything. But in terms of the show, I enjoy it so much, and I always have. And even after 8 years, yeah, I've never really wanted to take a break from making videos. Right now, basically, I don't produce videos every single day because I don't feel like there's enough for us to talk about every single day. But if there was, I would, because I always have the energy to do it. I always enjoy it. So it's my favorite. I know for a lot of you guys it is too. And there may be some other shows that you're really into, that you really love at the same kind of level. Those are mine. But you guys can write your comments below on which ones are your favorite. Which shows stuck out to you that will be like some of your favorites forever. People used to tell me back when I was younger that I wouldn't really like cartoons or wouldn't really like anime when I got older. And I still do. I still love Dragon Ball. I still love some of these series. And sometimes I go back and watch them again because they just meant a lot to me, and they're something I really like a lot. So I hope that makes sense. You guys can write your comments below on which series were yours, and maybe your thoughts about the biggest character death of all time. Kind of unofficially right now, but from what I'm seeing from you guys, basically being Glenn. And if you like this video, please don't forget, guys, please thumb it up below. You can also share and favorite. And if you're new and you want to subscribe to the channel, appreciate it, guys. Thank you guys for all your support. For new viewers, bottom left to subscribe. That's it for this one. Send me some more questions, guys, so we can do some more Q&As this week. As always, this is Trev, and I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See you soon.